going against ODG, who are on a crazy upswing in their matches. Today, here with me, we have Hero Physio, one of the lead casters for the Nexus Gaming series, as well as many other series here in the HotS community. Go ahead and tell the group about yourself here.
Hey everybody, great to be back. I've casted just a couple of NGS series here, but I primarily cast Chair League and a few other promotions like Heroes Hype. But NGS, I know a lot of the players here, so it's good to be back.
Excellent. Now, I like that both of these teams finally get a chance to really show down. This is a semifinals match, so the winner of this matchup will go into the finals, which holds a prize and holds a lot of, well, let's just say bragging rights. With the camaraderie between these teams, bragging rights is the cleanest way to be able to put it, and already coming out swinging with a quick Genji and Garrosh bans, two very high-impact heroes on a map like Braxis. What do you think?
I like that these two teams play with and against each other fairly often. It's kind of this, friendly camaraderie, but also rivalry. So, they may have a little bit of insight into each other's picks and bans. This Garrosh coming out first, I don't know if that's just a universal ban or if they have been scrimming against it and find it to be pretty intimidating. The Genji ban on Braxis, that's kind of a mobility style ban. I would have expected something like a Dahaka ban, but if they decide to go into something like that or into the Tassadar, I think they've got a pretty strong opener.
And there you go, as if portrayed here. That is Tassadar coming out as a first pick for 2+2. I like this pickup. Again, Genji is such a high impact hero, so taking it off the map early and allowing themselves to gain that Tassadar advantage. I wouldn't be surprised to see that Dahaka come out for ODG. It's something that is definitely a staple in their style of play. But Garrosh is known to put a wall in that kind of style of play, so they took it out there pretty quickly. So let's see what these picks come up in. I know they have a lot of history, these two teams of scrimming, and well, Garrosh is one of those that neither team really likes to play against at this point.
Yeah, picking up the Dahaka early is a bit of a tricky situation because you show your solo laner early, so then you can just pick something like a Malthael or any other solo laner that beats him in lane. So the only way to really get value out of him is to make sure that you actually use that global if you are up in that top lane, meaning that you have to come on down.
And as we say that, we're gonna have an Ariel with a Gul'dan. So Ariel being one of the strongest healers in the game currently, especially after her rework, she's not as reliant on those heavy batteries. But when she does have one, whoo boy, does she be impactful! And Gul'dan is one of the best for it, and such a good presence on this map, being able to clear out those Zerg waves. You're just getting very little value out of all of them. So. I mean, I like these two pickups already for ODG. It definitely spells a lot of lane presence for me.
Yeah, great wave clear coming out from them with the Gul'dan and even with the Ariel here, so they should be able to win out on that. But the Stitches pick up on the other side with the immediate Chromie counter to the Ariel. That's going to be doing some damage for 2+2. Now, they're a little less reliant on some of their other heroes for wave clear. They're really just hoping that Tassadar does the job here. Chromie's going to save her Dragon's Breath, and hopefully she hits her skill shots.
Absolutely. And the Stukov ban, I like this. Stukov gains so much value around the points, being able to sanction off certain areas of the map that are so vitally needed. That little bit of area choke becomes so important, especially against or with a Stitches on the team. You're able to get a lot of displacement, and that is where really Chromie shines. So a very calculated ban here.
And right now, I would give the sustain advantage over to ODG with the Ariel Gul'dan. So as long as they can dodge most of those skill shots, they can wave clear, they can regenerate, they can definitely top themselves back up. And over time, depending on what support 2+2 ends up going with here, those longer team fights mean that ODG will eventually win out that 4-man lane.
Absolutely. I love the combination of Ariel Gul'dan. I can't speak enough to it. It's endless hope, endless mana. You're just never not in lane. If you have to be on Ariel Gul'dan, you're just not playing it well.
Yeah, so they're probably going to look to round this out with a front line, maybe even go into another support, someone who's got a little bit more clear, maybe even something like a Malfurion, or steal the Uther away. They go with a Greymane anyway, and then they pick up their main warrior in the Murden. Greymane's a nice pick here, just because he could choose to be up in that solo lane. We finally see that Dahaka come up and the Malfurion.
I like this. I like the global presence. They're banking on Chromie dealing a lot of damage and then probably supplementing with the Tassadar with Archon. And that's a very, very heavy powerhouse, and we're going to see another very big powerhouse as Malthael comes in as the last pick. So 3 really solid damage dealers for ODG against a heck of a sustained comp out of 2+2. We'll figure out how this one's going to play out here as we go into map number 1. Stay with us. We will be right back. And we are back into game number 1, 2+2 versus ODG on Braxis Holdout. In the blue corner, we have McNulty, the king of flex on Tassadar. Tithel on the Dahaka. HotS bringing it in on the Stitches. Axon playing those mages always on the Chromie. And then Redder taking it in with the support, and that's Malfurion.
All right, on the red side, you got ODG bringing it. Billy Fish on the Murden, Capitan on the Greymane, ISO Sneaky on Gul'dan, Crosby playing Ariel, and Kooks on Malthael.
And already we see a 3-2 split on the side of 2+2. That heavy sustain trying to do a lot of work in that lane clear and just get a lot of lane presence and potentially a little bit of an advantage in the XP pretty early game. However, a 4-man collapse on the top lane is going to have McNulty and Tyler thinking twice, but a good Oracle is going to scout this out pretty damn quick.
Yeah, a little bit of a lane switch, hoping to find somebody, catch somebody a little bit too far out. And we didn't mention this at the end of the draft, but they ended up snap locking Malthael as a counter to the Dahaka in that solo lane. But right now, we actually see the lanes getting swapped right around.
I love this. Malthael's alone in the top lane, and he does sustain really, really well, especially against HotS on the Stitches, but Kook's got to be careful because all of that poke from Chromie can really come back to bite him in the ass if he's not safe.
Yeah, bottom lane here, though, great rotation from ODG. They're just able to completely burn down one of those towers with Gul'dan and with the Greymane.
And great communication coming out as Kook said, hey, we got 2 up in the top lane, push a tower down, and an early XP advantage. Not much, but a little bit going over to ODG.
Yeah, this is the advantage you get with Gul'dan, who's able to clear that wave. You can push in with your own minion wave, and they soak the towers. And while they're tanking the towers, your team is free to burn down their towers.
Absolutely, and the second one's about to fall. 2 ISO Sneaky on the Gul'dan. Kook's being bullied out of the lane, but McNulty and Tidal both having to just sit back a little bit, take a little safer of the battle, and focus on just clearing the lanes here. But Billy Fish, after a huge amount of damage, is going to have to back away and let his Murd and Trade do the work for a minute.
Yeah, but with the 2 towers already down in the bottom lane here, 2+2 doesn't have much for safety, and that means ODG can actually push in a little bit, and the distance to safety for Redder and Stitches and Chromie at the bottom lane, they've got to be careful.
Absolutely, and shout out to Voodoo in the chat. That is one of the admins for Nexus Gaming Series. He's asking if we want to do MLG horns. I tell you what, man, you can come into the chat at any point and do 1 more. That's all I'm going to give you, but you get 1.
All right, the 4-man in the bottom lane here. They're slowly pushing Malfurion out here. Their sustain is just too good. ISO Sneaky has to go back and tap, but they're going to be fairly healthy here. Capitan gets hooked in, though. HotS with that play there. Chromie actually just missing, but still the takedown. Redder able to land the roots right after that.
Yeah, I think Axon wasn't really expecting Redder to be able to land those roots so fast and was predicting that that Dragon's Breath a little bit too far, but Still, a great kill on the Greymane, and that's first blood. And I mean, in a weird twist, we do have the advantage going back in the way, at least for the moment, to 2+2.
This is exactly what 2+2 needs to do. They drafted the Stitches. They need to get value from the Stitches. Every hook that goes out needs to connect with somebody, and they have to at least threaten the takedown, if not secure it.
And we are 3-2 on both sides as Capitan is forced to go up to the top lane. Top lane's been bullied out by Tidal and McNulty quite heavily. We got a tower down, most of the wall as well, just one tower with no ammo remaining. And this is Q for HotS and Axon, as well as Redder to bully their way onto the point and try to secure both points.
Yeah, Axon in there accidentally cast the Dragon's Breath back onto himself. I think he must have Alt-W'd that one. If that one had been onto the beacon, I think there would have been a lot more pressure. This fight could have turned the whole thing around there.
Absolutely, and a quick rotation from Tidal is going to have them capturing the bottom beacon back again, 2+2, not wanting to secede any more than 46% on the beacon control progress, but that leaves McNulty in the top lane. He does do really well against Kooks on Mouthdale, but he doesn't win that lane, he just survives it.
Yeah, wave clear is going to be massive up in the top lane. If Tazadar can clear the wave and put some pressure onto Mouthdale with the Dahaka pressure, or at least the threat of a global, I think they could have left McNulty up here for a couple of more waves.
Absolutely. And we do have both beacons being traded once again, but a great hook onto Crosby as we force him to go back. And just Axon just pouring on the pain at this point. But unfortunately, you're going against Ariel Gul'dan, buddy. Your poke damage is only so good.
Yeah, a little bit mistimed too. The hook went out, the roots went out, and they both connected, but Axon had just used most of his abilities elsewhere, so the follow-up damage wasn't immediately available, and really, without that follow-up damage, there is no pressure.
Now, despite the experience being tied, I mean, definite lead in the side of ODG. They're guessing the rotations to perfection almost at this point, as they have Capitan rotating back down to the bottom lane and attempting to bully this fort down. And it is already at about 2/3 HP. Kook's doing a good job just sustaining up in that top lane, but his well's about to fall as well. And, I mean, that's not where you want to be on a Mouthdale.
Yeah, 2+2 here too. What I'd like to see is for them to actually bring down that Tassadar, and if they play this 4-on-4 and then draw ODG in, there's another hook going on. Roots do connect. Chromie with a couple of shots there. Axon not quite able to get that big damage on. HotS goes down here. Redder being chased, he takes a lot of damage. Capitan diving deep now. He takes that tower, but he gets out with about 300 HP. Billy Fish taking the Sandblast. 300 HP on him too.
Man, I love how ballsy these teams can play. Division A is probably the best to watch. Just weird drafts and ballsy play. I love how deep Capitan was willing to go for a kill on Redder. Not going to paying off here, but I mean you can bet post 10 that pays off 100% of the time.
Yeah, and they take the bomb down here. You see Tidal burrow down there. And I didn't finish my thought there, but I wanted Tastar to come down to the bottom for that exact reason. That they had a good 4-on-4. Tidal could use his global, and he ends up making good use of it. Murden goes down.
I do want to apologize for a little bit of frame rate issue here in the chat. You know, there's a little bit of network problem on my end here, but we'll have that resolved as the next game starts up.
Sounds good. I'm having a quick look at the talents here. Gramian, of course, going for a full cocktail build. Murden's actually gone to a Skullcracker style. You got Echo Corruption on Gul'dan, so he's starting to stack that up. Now Kooks actually gets away with less than 100 hit points. Capitan peeling for him.
That was an insane play by Tidal trying to come in and get a swift kill on Kooks. It's not going to pay off, but you're going to force him to back and Capitan to rotate up, and that's going to be both beacons going over to 2+2. And on the back of this, they could definitely get 10 a little bit quicker, a little bit safer, and force the fight and potentially get a lead here pretty early in this game.
Yeah, 100% Zerg wave in the bottom lane for 2+2. Let's see what they can do with it. They don't have everybody here. They still have McNulty and Tidal up in the top lane. Tidal, of course, can show up out of nowhere, but their siege really isn't that strong. They've got the threat of the Stitches hook and the threat of Chromie as well, but you know, the Zerg wave is an early one, not going to be too strong, and the clear should be good here with the Gul'dan.
Absolutely, and a great rotation here by Tidal's going to miss the tongue, but ultimately they're going to be at taking down this fort, trying to get that bottom lane push back out, especially if Boss is going to be in the near future. They want to have that early pressure in that lane. And with their fort already being down this early, that's a little bit of a bad position to be in, and Axon taking the tail end of that damage as 2+2 is on the retreat.
Yeah, I was expecting a much better defense there, but ISO Sneaky actually had to go all the way back, and so he wasn't there for that defense. That Zerg wave got maximum value in the bottom lane. This top lane, too, could go down just after the first phase here.
Yeah, McNulty doing a great job split pushing, getting a good XP lead for his team. They have a full level lead at this point, but both teams have 10s. Look for a pretty good cleanup here as camps are being picked up, lanes being pushed out, and potentially a team fight as we've got a big rotation up to the top lane. McNulty in a little bit of danger. He's going to shield and force wall his way out, but Capitan wants a little bit more.
Yeah, getting the dismount there. They're going to clean up this mercenary camp. The hook went out. Billyfish dodging that one, and the poke damage coming out. They may decide to look for a fight themselves if they get a few rotations of Chromie spells off.
Absolutely. And Tyler doing a good job cleaning up here in the bot lane, keeping that lane pressured. And with all 5 on ODG up in the top lane, that is going to gain such value with that camp as well, pushing in the bot lane. Firebats do a decent amount of damage, especially this early in the game. They don't scale as well late game, but this early they can do some damage.
And this is where it gets scary for ODG. The map is open. They've got a Dahaka on the other team. Anytime they see a 4-on-4, they can go ahead and have Tylo burrow in, but they get McNulty here. The force wall onto Kooks after that drag. Kooks goes ahead and throws out the Torment, and Souls 1v2 gets dragged again, stunned out, no sustain here, and they're going to get that takedown.
What an insane force wall play by McNulty. I love it. And it came up as well just to block off an additional route, but as I say that, Chromie's going to get a great snipe up in the top lane onto Gul'dan. ISO Sneaky just not as sneaky as he wanted to be that particular moment, and this is a bad time to have 2 picks go, the other direction. You got both beacons spawning, as well as more Firebats in the bot lane that McNulty and Tyler are now picking up here in the bot, and this is exactly where you want to be on 2+2, where you have less damage overall, but a lot more sustain. You want to be able to put the hurt on, get a few picks, and so far, the fights have gone pretty well handedly over to 2+2's way. They've got 4-1 in terms of kills and a 13-11 advantage.
Yeah, the 2-3 rotation working out for 2+2 here. You're only able to do that with double support, and so 2+2 making it happen here. They get a takedown in a 2v1, and then they get one in the 3v4. So they're winning on both sides of the battleground.
What an insane amount of... I want to keep this stream as clean as possible, but the balls on 2+2 at some points it's just nuts, and that was not an intended pun. I apologize. But I love the willingness to rotate in aggressive manners and really try to force ODG to make bad decisions. This is exactly why they've been the top seed in the Division A for such a really long time, in fact.
Yeah, they've got to be careful here. They are going to capture the top beacon here. Dahaka's still pushing out through the bottom lane here. He's got to be careful because he is the only global. So if he gets jumped on, nobody's there to save him. And he's going down to the bottom, tries to get that burrow. No hard CC. Was expecting the Horrify to come out. He decides to hold on to it. Dahaka burrows away, but it's still a 5-on-5. They're all down here in the bottom. And 2+2 holding on to the beacon here, looking for more hooks.
I love that play by Tidal. He burrowed right behind all of ODG as he knew his team was collapsing on him, and here just a massive fight as we've got a great a great tongue followed by an insane Twilight Dream is going to net a kill both onto Gul'dan and ISO Sneaky, and then Tythel being killed as well. Redder in a lot of danger in the top. Kook's going to take that kill, and we've got a 2-for-1 trade. ODG gaining quite an advantage here, and they want more. HotS really low on health, McNulty really low on health and mana as well. And that's going to be 2 more kills here if they can finally kill HotS. There we go. So a 4-for-1. And that's the power of having heroes like Greymane and Malthael on your team. Even though Gul'dan went down, that's a lot of value. But that was the stall. Look at the top lane. A huge Zerg wave push in the top. And that's going to gain at least this front wall, if not more.
Yeah, ISO Sneaky and Captain should be able to clean that up fairly well. In that last team fight, Twilight Dream got Kooks extremely low. He was silenced, couldn't get any sustain through, but without that consistent damage, without that finisher damage, Chromie's combos had already gone out. He ended up healing himself right back up, and with the Ariel composition, the longer a team fight goes, the more sustain you get out of that one. Gray being able to chase out Malfurion as well. They take that 4-for-1, get that comeback experience. That experience is much, much closer now.
Absolutely, and a quick invade as well by ODG is going to have them contesting this Fire Bats in the bottom. HotS is going to be able to get it finally. Capitan taking quite a bit of damage, and a great Horrify onto Kooks, or is going to set Kooks up for a great position. HotS landing a good hook onto ISO Sneaky, but here's a ton of damage coming out from Axon on the Chromie. Capitan really low on health. Kooks low on health as well. Is going to pop finally. Tormented Souls. And here we go with the Twilight Dream. It's going to net a kill onto, onto Kooks. And this is just too much. Crosby's going to be having to pop Aegis, and a great kill on ISO Sneaky as well as they go 3 for 0. Billyfish next on the list, and he's going to eat a Dragon's Breath. And I think this is probably going to be a kill onto him as well. Tythel landing a good tongue that's just going to kill him instead of dragging him. And 16s are on the horizon here, finally, for 2+2.
There's so much control for the side of 2+2. Axon's slowing sands were positioned perfectly to cut off the retreat of ODG. They could not disengage once they jumped onto that camp, and they were so split at the end of that. You had Force Walls coming in, Putrid Bile after that. They couldn't disengage. They had to commit fully to that one, and once they were in there, the drag after drag and the Chromie combos, that was enough to push 2+2 over the top.
See, I love the gumption to go for that Fire Bat invade. The only problem is that they were low on a couple of ults coming into that fight, so they were a little bit late. They didn't get to pop them as early as they wanted to, and Twilight Dream was still down for a few more seconds before before Tormented Souls was popped. And so with that delay and not having those Tormented Souls available immediately, that Twilight Dream got so much value. Redder definitely doing a good job waiting for that Tormented Souls to be popped before hitting that Twilight. And I think the Mouth was just pretty much a direct counter to Malthael at this point.
Yeah, around that Firebat camp too, it was a really tough spot because you ended up with a Gul'dan up towards the top, and then you had
oh jeez,
thanks for that MLG horde. We did just see some pretty fantastic plays there.
You were late, Voodoo.
You ended up seeing Gul'dan split up to the top away from his team, and with Ariel compositions, you gotta stick together.
Absolutely, and here we have a 5-on-3 as we've got Chromie finally joining in on the fight. But this is 90% already over to 2+2. I mean, this is the control that their comp has. And here we go with the Tormented Souls. Kook's in a great position, but Billyfish taking a little bit too much damage. Tythel looking to chase. And a great hook onto ISO Sneaky is going to have him forced way out of position. He knows he's going to go down. He's just looking to survive and buy his team time to get in position to defend. But, I mean, he's not going down without a fight. I love that. And these Firebats getting a lot of work down on the bottom wall as the Zerg wave is creeping up and getting ready to siege up here.
Yeah, 2+2 had all the cards in their hands there. They had mercenary camps pushing up in the top lane, the bottom lane. They had multiple ways to engage here. Now with 100% Zerg wave, they're pushing down for the bottom keep. 100% they're going to get the keep. I think they're going to try and go for the core here.
I think this is definitely core. 16s have just been hit for ODG, so this is the best chance they have to defend. But this is a huge wave. Aegis going down, and a good Putrid Bile is going to secure the kill onto him. And, I mean, that's just too much damage from Chromie. Billyfish on the retreat here, but ISO Sneaky is now back up. Course falling 60% already, 50%, 40%. This is a huge amount of siege damage, and I believe this is going to be game. Capitan too low on health. That's a great kill onto Tythel, but ultimately, that's first game. Brax's holdout going handedly in the way of 2+2. That was such an insane amount of rotational control on the map.
Yeah, GG's 2+2, switching it up on them, running a 2-3 instead. I don't think ODG was prepared for that. They were prepared to play that 4-man game. I think they should have kept with their plan. I mean, at the very beginning, they actually were ahead in terms of burning down the towers and the structures, but I think they got a little mixed up, and they figured they needed to go up to that top lane, help out Malthael, and then they fell behind in those rotations. Later in the game, they had to go up against the Dahaka. That makes it even tougher to keep up with the rotation. So 2+2, playing the map, playing the battleground.
Exactly. In that late game Dahaka, when you get that enhanced agility stacked so high, you're able to get so much value off of those quick flanks, and we saw it work to perfection by Tythel. Those quick flanks, especially when he got collapsed upon in the bottom lane and burrowed out, it was just insane how good his positioning was in that fight. And I believe they still lost that initial engagement with a couple of picks going the opposite direction, but it was still such great positioning. And I mean, I have no doubt we're going to see more of that in game number 2. So stick with us here. We'll be right back as we get ready for game number 2. And we are back for serving number 2 of this epic matchup, 2+2, taking a quick lead, one over over ODG on Brax's Holdout, a very strong map for them. They definitely drafted the best comp that they could have run in that particular setup. Just so much sustain, so much control. It was just an incredible showing from 2+2, and here we find ourselves on Battlefield of Eternity. Hero, what do you think?
Game number 2, I think they're definitely going to be fighting over the Vala here. I know Axon plays that quite a bit, and shout out to Axon from that last game. He was the solo range carry in a Tastar composition, not an auto attacker, as a Chromie, and he ended up doing about 60k damage, no deaths. I mean, his slowing sounds were on point, and he was doing the carry damage in that game. So if you wait and see him on a Vala, if he's able to get his hands on that one, look out.
Yeah, I definitely like Axon's play in that last map. I mean, he was always in great positioning. He had a few deep breaths or Dragon's Breath that were a little bit off center, but overall his positioning, his follow up on those Stitches hooks as well as the roots from Malfurion were just so pristine. I love it. It was just an incredible showing from him of his anticipation of how players move, and I think that also translates into how often these teams play against each other. It really it showed in their prowess, really. And here we find ourselves at map number 2, BOE, and already an Abathur ban. So that, I think, is that's a target ban, if anything.
Absolutely. We're talking about how these teams play against each other, and you can't ban an Abathur on BOE unless you know that the other team plays it. So this is a little bit of inside knowledge from the two teams here. Garrosh was banned out in the first one, as was Genji here, and Genji could definitely be banned out. With that first pick on the other side, though, you usually don't want to ban the Vala or the Greymane because it leaves one open for you.
Absolutely. I had the the great fortune of playing with not only Vala but Greymane as well on my team on this particular map yesterday, and it was it was a lot of fun. I really really enjoyed that particular comp, and I gotta be honest, this draft's kind of going that same way. And a Nubarak ban, so taking away that heavy engage, heavy peel that a Nubarak can bring, as well as that really hard CC with the cocoon, and as a counter to that, we have a really early Garrosh pick. We haven't seen a lot of Garrosh this tier in Division A, but I mean, he's got a lot of presence on this particular map, a lot of narrow chokeways that he can set himself up in, and I'm interested to see how he positions himself to really gain some benefit, because ODG's on the back foot. They need this map as well as the next just to be able to get into that finals. However, 2+2, they only need one more.
Greyman and Reg are the pickup. I was actually expecting maybe a Li Ming, but they can, of course, push that down priority. Li Ming bursts Garrosh down. And on something like Battlefield of Eternity, you're going to get into some of those long poke wars. I'm very, very curious to see how effective Garrosh will be in terms of pulling people and pulling them out of position for his team to capitalize. In HGC, we've seen Garrosh paired up with Uther and heroes like Chromie. I could foresee them switching that Chromie up for someone like Li Ming for themselves, maybe picking up the Malfurion for those routes. I've seen Garrosh wrecking ball people back onto that cozy green carpet. That could definitely be a combo that they're looking for.
Absolutely, and we are going to see the Vala pick as well as Arthas, who is such a strong hero for following up Garrosh. I was going to highlight this as well. You know, in addition to Malfurion, who has a little bit of a delay time with those routes, you have Arthas, who is almost immediate. You know, he's just got that travel distance, and so you get Arthas in the right position, and you're able to get a good hook, or not a good hook, but a good toss on the Greymane. You're going to not only get a good root onto him, but you're going to slow his auto attacks as well. That's going to be a pretty damn dead Greymane. So I like this pickup, and Uther going to be the ban for 2+2. So knowing the power of that Garrosh with the Uther stun, it's just not something they want to deal with today.
You know, something else I think we should be looking out for might be the Stukov here. You know, you have two warriors who don't have a lot of mobility, and when I think about mobility, you have to think about it as both giving your own team speed or reducing the enemy's speed. So with the Stukov, if you're able to hit some slows on the other team, you're relatively boosting your Arthas and your Garrosh onto them. And with Stukov, that's another follow-up that you have to be careful of. That silence is deadly.
Absolutely. You know something I've also seen just comboed in with this style of comp where you've got the roots from Arthas, you got Garrosh to be able to do the flip, is you get Karazim with that 7-sided strike, and you get so much blow-up potential off of a toss because you just position Karazim where the only target that's going to be hit is that toss target. And if you get a good frontliner, I mean, that's just insane. And he does enough damage to be able to help on the Immortals, but he also does enough healing that he can sustain a comp that has the likes of Arthas and Garrosh who can heal themselves, Vala who can avoid a lot of damage. It's something that I would like to see here, but then again, you also have things like Lucio on the table who has a lot of movement speed and mobility. So, I mean, it's such a wide open draft for ODG at this point. I love that they're not showing their niche picks at this point.
Yeah, and no Tassadar bans either way here. I think 2+2 is really thinking this one over, whether or not they do want to take that Tassadar. And you know what? Honestly, it's not a bad choice because you can definitely slow down Arthas and Garrosh. Make sure your team stays at an arm's reach length distance away from them, never being able to be caught. And once you get that force wall, I don't think they really can engage onto you unless Garrosh decides to throw someone into the fray.
That's true. Absolutely true. And I do want to highlight last map. We saw Tassadar not go Archon, and I thought he was going to go Archon to supplement that damage. It was something that I had anticipated, but with that Force Wall, trusting your team to be able to follow up and deal that damage that was necessary, that is the power of having played with your team for so long. You understand how communication works. You understand how your team plays, and that, I think, is probably the best thing in 2+2's repertoire. They're really strong drafters, and, I mean, as I say that, they follow it up with an ETC and Alarak ban, or picks, sorry, and that's so much map control and so much positional control, especially under the Immortals, and you get Alarak stacked up high enough, it's just an insane amount of damage. So I love that they're so willing to commit to oddball drafts and allow for their players to highlight themselves in their play and their positioning.
Yeah, the Alarak's going to get some really juicy combos here between the Arthas and the Garrosh sticking together. So there's the Li Ming pickup and the Stukov that we thought about here. The Tyrande coming in, last pick. I don't think they expected this. And Stukov, that's one dude that doesn't have a cleanse.
Oh, man, I wish we had that MLG horn right here. Because Tyrande as a last pick, is just insane. I love her ability to add a little bit of extra flavor onto this map. But we'll see how it plays out as we get into Battlefield of Eternity for map number 2. Stick with us. We'll be right back. And here we go, map number 2, Battlefield of Eternity. In the blue trunks, we have HotS manhandling the ETC, Tidal on that Alarak, McNulty always on those flex weird heroes, and that's going to be Tyrande. Redder, always the support, and that's going to be Rhaegar and Axon coming in with that hard carry, and that's going to be Greymane.
Down one game, the underdogs now. ODG going to try and bring it back. You got Crosby on the Stukov, Captain on Vala, Kooks going to be on Garrosh, ISO Sneaky on Li Ming, and you got Arthas up in the top lane, played by Billyfish.
And a pretty early split coming in here, 1-4, as Arthas is going to be handling the top lane for ODG by himself, and that's a very strong solo lane, especially against Greymane. He can stall that lane out for so long. He's got decent amount of clear and a decent amount enough of self-sustain to be able to really bully Greymane. And we've got a little bit of trouble here as we've got McNulty, Redder, and HotS looking towards going to that top lane and potentially picking out an Arthas who at this point is completely unsuspecting. Although he's playing safe, Billyfish needs to play a little safer if he's going to have any chance of winning this lane.
Yeah, kill potential here is real. HotS looking for that power slide, just misses it. That lunar flare is going to hit, and the body blocks everybody. Just gangs up on Arthas. The dog pile is real. Top lane should be burned down now.
Combo breaker. I love it. That's Tyrande right there for you in a nutshell. That vulnerability with that massive stun, it's just insane. And that's a lunar flare build that we're seeing from Tyrande as well. And so those stuns are going to come in handy. And that's a Crosby going down as well on the Stukov. Just a little bit too much damage to deal with. And, I mean, that's really just McNulty being in the right position and calling out his team, hey, we're going to combo on this person, and they're going to go deleted.
Yeah, a lot of kill pressure from 2+2. That means ODG should be playing safe. They don't have a lot to gain in this early phase. I mean, other than maybe getting the regen globes, that's about it. They really don't have a lot else here. They may be able to stack up Garrosh, get a couple of Qs, but short of that, they're really not aiming to burst down the tower, so there's no reason to really push up beyond that halfway point of the map.
And we do have a defense here coming in for ODG, as already a ton of pressure being done onto the aggressive Immortal from 2+2, and they're going to be bullied away, but that's still almost a quarter of its health already taken away. And this is where you're going to have Tyrande and Greymane, as well as Tidal on the Alarak doing just a ton of damage. Tidal's going to go to the bottom lane just to get a little bit more XP. Oh, as I say that, he's going to go ahead and change his mind.
Yeah, the rotations are real right now. They've got that level 4. They feel free to move in here. And with their burst potential, they can definitely move in. Tidal gets thrown into the back, gets stunned by the Immortal as well. Billyfish and Kooks still going after him. Lunar Flare peels off the Billyfish here, and HotS should be able to help his team disengage.
That engagement by HotS to be able to help Tidal get away was insane. Just knowing how to position yourself to allow for him to get out and give him a lane to disengage was insane.
I didn't mention this at the end of the draft there. After HotS picked up ETC, Tidal picked up the Alarak, ODG still decided to go into a Stukov, which really tells me that they want to fight these long, slow, sustained team fights. But at the same time, they've got a Garrosh who wants to throw somebody into the back, a Li Ming who wants to get resets. I think their draft is a little bit at odds with each other. What really hurts them is that Stukov isn't that burst healer, and when you go up against ETC and Alarak, that's exactly what you need, is some kind of damage mitigation up on the front line, and that's only accentuated by the Tyrande.
Absolutely. I would have liked to see something like a Malfurion to be able to capitalize with those roots. It has a little bit more of that sustain healing as well. Not as bursty heavy, but some proper positioning can really allow it to be just a powerhouse for ODG. So look for Stukov to try to make right by that just by doing what he does best and just punishing bad positioning, which Garrosh does also complement really heavily.
Yeah, full combo from Tyler onto Capitan here, and he's actually just sustaining that Immortal in the bottom. They decided to split off early here, trying to take a fight up in the top here. 4-on-4. Kook's jumping in. Redder is still low here. Redder may not get away. HotS again with appeals, and now the body blocks back onto Billyfish. Billyfish goes down, and that's going to start the chain reaction. Lunar Flare, ISO Sneaky nearly going down, even though he tapped the well.
That was an insane amount of damage from that Flare combo, and just the follow-up as well. Not only Redder doing just a ton of damage with his Z ability, but Greymane really pouring it on there. We've got a level 7 advantage, almost a full level lead here for 2+2, really coming into this game handedly and showing they want that quick 2-0 to get to the finals. They got their eye on the prize here, and I love it.
Yeah, tons of pressure up in the top lane, tons of pressure down the bottom. Max range, power slide, and the Lunar Flare follow up. Kooks, though, does peel for himself here. Top is going to go down, though. That means the fort and the healing fountain, that's going to be very detrimental in the next Immortal phase.
Absolutely. I love how funny it is to see Garrosh play. It's just great seeing HotS come in on a great power slide, and then you see Kooks on the Garrosh just say, hey, no, fuck you, buddy. I don't want any part of your ass. I'm just going to throw you away. And he does it again as HotS is again thrown away in this invade here on the Bruiser camp. It's a 5v4, but Billyfish is on the offensive here as they come in. They're just going to succeed this, work on clearing it up, but it is a perfectly timed Bruiser camp. And that's going to be 4 minutes that they can't retrieve that as well to gain some of that lane pressure back.
Yeah, they're going to hit level 7s on this, and they have to look for that big team fight here. I think once they hit their heroics, they'll have a little bit more pressure and a little bit more of an opportunity to set up some of those one-shot executions. If they can get Li Ming to reset, that's going to be their team fight.
Absolutely, that combo that Kooks brings with the throw, and then even the potential for a taunt, which I would love to see in this particular matchup, just because of how aggressive 2+2 can be with their comp, with the Alarak and the Greymane. It's definitely something that I would love to see Kooks go ahead and invest into, and we have just a huge amount of CC that can come in for ODG, but it's going to be kind of reliant on those ults.
Wow, 2+2 getting the burn before the team's able to rotate, but Redder gets tossed in the backline, taken down. That's the start of the resets here. ISO Sneaky looking for another angle. Axon getting a little bit low. HotS for the peels again. They do find themselves on their own Immortal, so this is a good defensive spot for them. The silence goes out. The Lunar Flare onto HotS. The silence in the back, tossing Greymane back into it. He goes down. Billyfish survives. ETC does not.
That was insane positioning by ODG. They knew exactly where they needed to be able to get those combos going. And that was a full Seeker onto Greymane, and it was too much damage to be able to deal with. I mean, Redder was already on his way back, and Tyrande doesn't do enough damage or enough healing to supplement for that amount of damage coming out. And that's going to be First Immortal going over to, or sorry, ODG's First Immortal going over to them, and it's going to be pushing the bottom lane.
This is a big turning point for ODG here. They need to take some structures. They need to get that experience, but they won't be able to push all the way in. Level 10 should be here for 2+2. And if they decide to take a team fight past the Immortal, ODG's got to be careful of that too.
Yeah, I do want to highlight, as Fireteam in the chat has said, the level 4 talent Vicious reuptake was not taken by Stukov, instead going one good spread, and that burst healing is definitely needed to be able to deal with the amount of burst that can come out of that Tyrande combo. And I mean, that's I don't know if that was a little bit of a misplay or if he's just really excited about being able to get good spread.
Yeah, very nearly a takedown on Kooks there. Tyler looking for the combo. Discord strike just missing. HotS. Max range power slide, not quite there. I think he thought about the mosh pit for a second there. I wouldn't have minded if he decided to pop that off.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's getting slowed on the side of 2+2. Stukov doing a little bit of work here. But Capitan's too low on mana to really keep in this fight. You know, Q-Build Vala is really decent here, but we have Hot Pursuit being picked up, so not that not the Monster Slayer one at level 1. So ultimately, it's going to be a little bit lacking in overall, not only the mana sustain, but being able to chunk down the Immortals as well. And that's really going to be based off just how well ODG can take some of these team fights.
That is actually quite surprising that Capitan favors the movement speed over the full Q build here. Small engagement in the bottom lane, but I don't think they're going to find any takedowns here. Really, really interesting because you usually go for it, but I mean, if Capitan really feels like he's under threat and needs that extra movement speed to move around HotS, maybe juke out some of those power slides, I guess you could make the argument for that.
Yeah, and Tidal with the ability to really lock down Avala, it's already shown itself to have some value against Capitan, but at this point, he has dodged quite a few of them, so that movement speed has gotten a little bit of work done, but I would love to see that full Q build Vala doing a lot of work on the Immortals. It's something that I really like to play myself, so, let's see how it really pans out in the long run. I think that their Immortal wins are going to have to come off Li Ming getting a lot of resets, and ultimately them winning a team fight.
I like the bush setup here. ODG knew that their own Fallen Shaman were up, and that meant 2+2 might also see it. Trying to make the invade here. So they decided to hold in the bush instead, wait for somebody to move in. I think 2+2 here, though, does have to move into a pause. So no gank bush just yet.
I like this, though. And again, I just want to apologize for everybody, watching this. If there's frame rate issues, I definitely apologize. It's just not something that I can fix. We probably should have swapped over to Hero hosting this from his ops point of view, but unfortunately it's not something that we could fix now in game number 2. If we get to a game number 3, we'll go ahead and make that swap as well. But thank you everybody regardless for tuning in and allowing us to entertain you with our sexy, sexy voices. And it looks like we have a little bit of a restart and just some good old camaraderie in the chat. I like it.
Hey. Yeah, I do like seeing people type in the chat during the pauses. It means they're still having fun. Already back, so not too long of a pause here either. But teams that talk in the chat means they're having fun. Means they're still enjoying Heroes. Here we go. Back into the game. 2+2 ODG. Still going at it.
Well, it looks like I messed my camera up, and now I am stuck on just one hero.
Hit that E button.
Thank you.
There you go.
Oh, no, that actually didn't work.
That Control Z. Yeah, you got it. You got it.
There we go. All right, cool. Thank you.
Rory's got it under control.
Yep. Totally under control, everybody. Totally under control.
All right, looks like ODG is going to be in a defensive posture here. No level 13, so this is an even talent tier fight. This might be the best time for ODG to get a little bit of aggressive, and they do have to make something happen because down the bottom lane, Fallen Shaman need to be responded to at some point.
Absolutely, and it looks like both teams just trying to aggress. ISO Sneaky doing a ton of damage, and as we got a pretty early halftime going ODG's way as both teams are just kind of posturing, and I think this is just going to be a defense call here for both teams as, actually we have aggressive Immortals on both sides, and 2+2 wants this Immortal down fast. They want to be able to make up some of that time. If they lose it, they still want to have low shields, but it looks like they're going to win this race. Just a mere 4,000 more damage, and that's the power of McNulty on that Tyrande coming out. They're going to ultimately win the Immortal, and 2+2 definitely in a really solid spot to get a lot of value top lane, but that lane has been pushed quite a bit by that Fallen Shaman camp up in the top lane that ODG had in a previous position, but they're going to clean it up pretty quick, and this is a ton of pressure.
Yeah, that was a better rotation from 2+2 there, and to be honest, this is one of those moments where ODG should have left the Fallen Shaman camp. They should have ignored it, burned down the Immortal, or taken that team fight, burst down that ETC, whichever decision they decide to make. Let that Fallen Shaman camp push in. They still had 30 seconds, a minute, maybe a minute and a half before it really started to do some damage.
Yeah, now we have the Immortal already shields burnt down. HotS getting a flipped right over, but it's going to be a mosh pit. Ancestral not quite there fast enough, but it's going to be a good trade on the Kooks as we have Redder going in ham. And a great silence as well from Stukov, just Crosby doing work, and Li Ming's going to be able to get one reset here, following shortly onto McNulty as well. ISO Sneaky really wanting to get this damage poured on. Capitan's going aggro as Accent's caught away from Redder, and I think this is going to be another kill onto that Greymane. It is, and that top keep was saved with just a pube hair of health.
I told you, ISO Sneaky, if he gets a reset, that is the team fight. He ran out of mana at the end because he went full Q build, but still, 4 takedowns on the keep defense, that's ODG's territory.
Absolutely, and this is their chance to really come back. They had such good pressure in that bot lane, being able to get that bottom fort down, that could be their win condition. Ultimately, that next Immortal is going to go to the top lane unless they can get that top fort down, so look for them to try to make up some of that ground pretty early, and this is going to be them posturing up towards that top fort. They want to have a good win condition, and they want to make up some ground. And with those Khazras going towards that that top fort, Tidal, Accent, and McNulty are going to have to respond to this pretty quick. And it looks like they're going to be able to clear it up. But that's that top well down as well.
Top wells down. Li Ming was split off down to the bottom, so they couldn't be really aggressive up to the top lane. If they had all 5 there, I think they might have been able to dive under the towers, under the fort, and it would have been a 5-on-3.
And that was a great combo out of Tidal. Gonna be just too much damage for Kooks to be able to deal with. Him and Billyfish both, just so little health. And that was Tidal just doing well, I'm gonna say it, just a shit ton of damage out of that sadism. And that's the value of having Tidal stacked up on that Alarak pretty early. And here we go with a great slide in as HotS is gonna be zoning in, but that's gonna be about it for the engagement. And just a quick clear up of some of the minions pushing, and the Bruiser camp is now available on the side of ODG, but Immortal spawning, I think this is just going to be an Immortal push here. Both teams at 15 with just a very slight lead over to 2+2.
Feels bad, man. The Redder cleanse was there. HotS, I could just picture him spamming the R button. Mosh Pit wasn't off cooldown.
It was such good positioning, really key to be able to get his team into position there, but it just wasn't enough to follow up on. And ultimately, it's just a halftime for the Immortal, and both teams kind of posturing to defend here. 100% health still for ODG, or sorry, for 2+2's Immortal. And with Li Ming and Vala split, this is going to be full aggression. HotS getting thrown away as well. Kook's going to get thrown, but not a full combo onto him. He's going to be sitting about half HP. And this Immortal's taking just a ton of damage. 2+2 is going to back away, clear the top camp, and this is going to be ISO Sneaky and company going in to get some free Immortal damage, get those shields potentially worked down. And now we have a collapse on the top lane as we have a great throw onto Tidal right back into the friendly helping hands of Redder. Billyfish zoned away from the team by HotS. He's going to have a good disconnect here by that wave of force, but this is a great silence, and HotS is not able to save Redder ultimately, but Greymane actually just getting a ton of work, and he's going to get a good kill on a Billyfish, but a return kill on a McNulty by Vala. That's Capitan just doing work, and ultimately this is going to be a 2-for-1 trade with Accent quick to retreat here, and both teams again just kind of posturing to defend.
Ancestral healing was amazing, but even better was Crosby's lurking arm to silence ETC so he couldn't get Mosh Pit off. There was no Mosh Pit in that fight, and that team fight was already weakened because they took that earlier engagement on the enemy Immortal. Tyrande used the Starfall already, and they were down a few of their heroics, so ODG moving in was perfect timing to take that fight, but now Cursed Bullet, the power slide here. Kooks down to 270 health there. Counter-strike just misses. Kooks walks away.
That was an insane amount of damage. That Cursed Bullet, that's full percentage. That's not reduced by the armor, so that is a huge additive in Greymane's repertoire. So Accent, understanding the benefits of Greymane in this matchup against the Garrosh and putting them to use, as now we have 2+2 working on this Immortal once again. ISO Sneaky doing everything he can with that Mirror Ball to get some resets, but it's not happening. A great cleanse coming down as well onto HotS. But Ancestral's not available. He's going to have to back away and allow himself to heal up a little bit. But this is Counter-Strike coming out. Billyfish taking a ton of damage. But Tidal's caught out with a great flip by Kooks. And Kooks didn't go taunt. He ended up going damage. And that's going to be a quick kill on the Tidal. And this is full aggression out of ODG at this point. They want this Immortal. But McNulty's not going to let it happen that easily. Great combo on the Billyfish as well. But it's not going to do much. That is Arthas. So he's going to take very little damage. But Wow, Capitan just deleted as McNulty lands a great combo. Hala zoning out, and then Redder coming in for that final bit of damage. Kook's in a lot of trouble. Is going to throw Axton back onto Hollis. Say, here, buddy, you can have your friend back. And I think this Immortal could potentially go all the way over as Ancestral lands on Hollis, and 2+2 looking to finalize this Immortal here. Redder diving back in as well. Kook's just having to back away. He doesn't want any more of this fight. And that was a heck of an Immortal battle. Really a lot of trading going on. A couple of ults down for both sides. Army of the Dead's going to be back up a little bit sooner than anything, and that's going to be ODG having a little bit of a stronger skill set available to defend here. McNulty's going to get cheeky in the top lane and steal that top keep.
Yeah, ODG really needed to be careful there, even though it was 5-on-4, 4-on-4. They just turned things right around. And with the Tyrande and with the ETC, you can 100-0 any hero that gets a little bit caught out. But now ETC, speaking of 100-0, he goes down. Tidal as well. They finally get the Starfall out to do some disengage, but that's going to be 2 takedowns. They're not going to be able to push in with this Immortal.
That was just an insane flip by Kooks, as well as a great follow-up with the Rain of Vengeance and the Stukov silence. Crosby knowing where his team is going to be positioned, that was insane. And this is going to be a good defense, but the keep is still going to go down. That's Catapults pushing in both lanes for the remainder of this game. They're going to need to use camps and good positioning to really allow themselves to come back in it. Even talents for both teams as 20s are on the horizon. What do you think ODG needs to do to be able to take this to a third game?
2+2 is trying to back off right now. ODG needs to leave their lanes and go look for a fight. Go look for some takedowns right now. The fact that they don't go for the enemy Fallen Shaman is a missed opportunity right now. All they needed to do was leave one in the back, clear some of those lanes up. The other 4 could have taken that. It would have been at least 10 seconds before Alarak and Greymane come up. Missed opportunity there, but they still have a chance right now. They need to go looking for a fight right now.
And I think that's what we're going to see here is both teams are kind of posturing towards that top Khazar camp, and it's going to be picked up by 2+2 very quickly, but I think this is going to be a fight. A good amount of damage going down on a Tidal, and he's going to have a cleanse as well, and that's cleansed down for quite some time. I think that's a really strong bait out of a really core ability that allows for 2+2 to really succeed in a lot of these fights.
Yeah, anytime you're looking for a fight here, ODG actually took the safer engage route from their own side. I would have liked to see them go full on aggro and go to the left side of that mercenary camp. Starfall comes down, McNulty in the backline, Ancestral doesn't connect. 5-on-4 now, they're starting to move forward. Gotta keep an eye on that bottom lane though, that's starting to push in.
Yeah, it's a Khazar camp, or sorry, that's a Fallen Shaman camp and 2 Catapults. Catapults are working on that tower though. That's a little bit of miscommunication with the minions. But ultimately, that was such an incredible throw from Kooks onto that Tyrande. I mean, McNulty was just way out of position at that point to be able to do anything. And I think this could be a pretty early Immortal going over, or sorry, pretty late Immortal going over the way of ODG. And this late in the game, it's going to do a ton of damage, and 20s are quickly coming for ODG as well.
Yeah, Kooks are actually holding on to the vision here. Captain, ISO, Steaky, they're going to be bursting this down. Should be able to get the halftime here. Arthas is the only one back to defend, but they see this. 2+2 is not afraid to take this fight again. Again, they have ETC to power slide in, Tidal on the follow-up. They can burst down any one of those heroes.
Absolutely, and I think this is really where we're going to see a lot of that misplay of not having that Monster Hunter at level 1 is it took a long time for that Immortal to be chunked down to, just over half HP. And with that first talent from Vala, you're going to see a heck of a lot more damage. Kook's taking a ton of damage as well. Hollis getting a 3-man mosh. He's ultimately going to get interrupted, but not before Kooks falls. Tidal in a position to get blown up here as ISO Sneaky's looking for them resets. He's going to get 2 of them so far as Hollis is going to go down as well. Redder's going to have to get Wave of Force out. And ISO Sneaky just saying, hey, buddy, here you go. Here's a helping hand. Go ahead and retreat. We're going to go ahead and take this Immortal and potentially win the game off the back of it.
That was great frontlining from Hollis on the ETC there. Putting Garrosh in a tough spot, bumping him back, and then getting a 3-man mosh. But unfortunately, all of the focus was on to Garrosh, the tank. That allows Vala, that allows Li Ming to get the damage off. And once you get that reset, again, it's ISO Sneaky's fight.
Absolutely, and a good job taking a lot of the shielding away by 2+2 as we have Li Ming go back, and they knew that. They needed to be able to defend both of these lanes pushing catapults, and it's doing a little bit of damage to the shields, but they're not going to be able to net any sort of, actual core damage. This Immortal's going to be pushing the top lane, which does have a fort, albeit a fraction of a fort here in the top lane, but I think this is going to be a full 5-man push in the top as soon as Kooks is able to get that bottom catapult taken care of.
He decides to leave it behind, and that is one of the downfalls of their composition here, is that they don't have any heroes that have really significant wave clear.
Yeah, I like the aggression. However, that they're willing to take these engagements despite not having the wave clear. They've been able to get a lot of kills, 15-9 in fact, and that's kept them in the game. A great root coming down from Billyfish as well, but a good combo back onto Capitan from Tithel. Wave of Force is going to catch Tithel out. However, he's going to have to pop that counter-strike to be able to just sustain at this point, and here we go with a great push as well. Is going to completely zone out Axon. Billyfish and Kooks are pretty low on health as well as Capitan, but HotS is even lower. He's going to tap the well and try to back away. Billyfish again just getting slowed, and this could be the end of Billyfish, but a great wave of force and then a great push by Stukov is going to have ETC dying way in the back line. 1-for-1 trade at the moment, but Tithel is next on the list. Not before Greymane has anything to say about it. Axon going to take a quick kill on the Capitan. Kooks next to fall. Crosby's next on the list as well, and I think he is wanting to just back away. ISO Sneaky doing a great job appealing, and what an insane fight.
No resets for Li Ming. No team fight for ODG. They needed to make sure they took down at least one person, but that didn't come until the very end when they got ETC, but by then it was too far gone. The Starfall was down. Alarak got all of his damage off. The fight was already turning the other way.
And this is full turtle mode at this point for ODG. They need to win every Immortal from here on out until they win the game. Otherwise, it is going to be game. A 25-minute Immortal is too much to deal with this late, and with the amount of damage, well, as I say that, ISO Sneaky showing the amount of damage he can do onto Axon, but the amount of damage that 2+2 has, and the amount of siege potential with the Greymane and the Alarak, it's too much to deal with. So the Immortals really got to be the focus at this point for ODG. That's their win condition.
Yeah, ODG needs to walk a very fine line of wave clear and defense on the objective right now. It's going to be top lane, double mercenary camp pressure, bottom lane mercenary camp pressure, 2+2 already on the Immortal.
I love this. They had the lanes pushed out so far that they're really forcing bad rotations out of ODG, and this is going to be halftime very, very quickly going over to 2+2's favor, and a decent amount of damage done to the aggressive Immortal as well for ODG, but it's just not going to be enough, as already, again, they're having to go back and clear camps. And like I said, the Immortals are the win condition at this point. 2+2 is doing a good job of just going back, making sure that they're all full health, full mana, because they know that this is their chance to win. They have Arthur's way.
I think they needed to go for a team fight right away, right after that halftime phase. I think they knew 2+2 would be there. Mosh pit going on. Stukov's caught in it. So is Vala. He goes on a tour. Crosby is trying to get away, 200 HP, gets a massive shove off. Alarak gets a telekinesis. He does go down. So does Tyrande, though. They trade out Alarak and Tyrande, 2 down already. Arthas still trying to clear the core, 24%, 15%, 10%. That might just do it.
That is going to be game. That's 2+2, allowing the Winions to take down the core. That was just insane stall. They knew what kind of position they were in. Arthas does not have an insane amount of clear. It takes him a little bit of time to be able to get that victory in terms of lane clear, and I mean, that was just, it was crazy how willing HotS was to go in, and that tour bus getting so much value and allowing him to stay in that mosh for as long as possible. Wave of Force ultimately being the thing that knocked him out of it, but not before getting a lot of value. Tithel was in a little bit of a bad position there and did get caught out, but ultimately it was just a stall game as the Winions coming in for that final blow, and that's going to be 2+2, taking a 2-0 victory. I hate math. 2-0 victory over ODG, and we're going to see them in the finals on September 10th.
Congratulations, 2+2, well played in that one. I got to give it to HotS on that one, getting that full tour bus value. First mosh into the second one. ISO sneaky. He had some good plays in there, but that wave of force has got to come in a little bit earlier. But good call from 2+2 to understand that they had a ton of pressure on the core. Arthas not able to deal with it. They just decided to go in and give it all for the core.
Absolutely. Now, for anybody who's a stranger to me streaming for NGS, at the end of every matchup, I like to name somebody who's an MVP. I think this player is the most standout in terms of their performance. It really allowed their team to play extremely well. If I've had some oddball ones where the team on the losing side does get MVP, but for today, we're going to stick with the tradition. We do have HotS actually receiving MVP as of today with his insane positioning and great hooks for on the side of Stitches, and then that insane play on HotS from ETC. I mean, come on. His positioning so pristine and just so on point at all times, really allowing for some early pickoffs, a really great early lead, and a lot of immortals as well, just with his zoning capabilities. So I don't know if you agree with me, Hero, but I think HotS deserves MVP.
ETC is a great choice against this one. A lot of people think he's a counter to the Garrosh, and so ETC is just able to power slide onto him, body block, give him a little bump back into his team, and then mosh pits. I think he landed some 3-man mosh pits pretty frequently. Hall's definitely played really well. The only other person I might give it to is Axon, doing a ton of damage both games. The Greymane on this battleground, can't argue with that one. Supplementing it with the Tyrande, though, that's what enabled some of the early takedowns. So you got a couple options here, but overall, well played by 2+2.
Absolutely. So again, congratulations to 2+2 making it into the finals of Season 1 for Nexus Gaming Series. Again, Season 2 is going to be coming up pretty shortly, so any teams that look to register, just go ahead and find us on Discord or to go to nexusgamingseries.wixsite.com, at which point you can sign up as well. All the information is available. Again, my name is EGC Fury, and thank you, Hero Physio, for joining me here on this adventure of epic proportions as we see 2+2 take it.
Thanks for having me. Glad we could get in on some of these playoff games. Make sure you tune into those finals. Should be a good set.
Absolutely. And again, finals, September 10th. All 3 divisions are going to be playing those finals, so look for some crazy matchups. My team's going to be playing on the finals as well on that particular day, so tune in for a less laggy stream, I'm sure. And thank you again, everybody, for tuning in, and I'll see you in the Nexus.